Shmi Skywalker, and he says, I have a wife, and they were talking about this wonderful performance, and Matt Lanter says, I want you to meet my wife. And so they did this wonderful performance, and then Dave's like, okay, great, moving on, and I'm like, well, wait a second, hold on. He said he wanted to meet his wife. Well, Shmi and Padme met already in one of the movies, in episode 1. And Dave just goes white. He's just like, and he just had a real moment in there. And I remember you looked at me and you just, what is it? And you're like, I just have never seen anyone out-geek Dave Filoni. That was funny.
Yes. Well, Sam, obviously it's a dream come true for you to work for Star Wars, but you are a very busy actor and have worked on several projects, including right here, the movie The Mist. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a nice family film. Yeah, I mean, I got that role. It's one of those weird stories that you kind of just never believe actually took place. I was walking down the street. I was going to an audition that I didn't want to go to, and I'm on the sidewalk, and I see a woman coming across the street, and she's got all these bags of stuff, and she drops them in the middle of the street, and no one was helping her, so I went in the middle of the street and helped her gather her things up, and I said, where are we taking these? Oh, over there. So as we're heading toward the building, she saw that I had like a headshot of myself. In LA, people walk around all the time with pictures of themselves. It's totally normal. Don't worry about it. And she said, are you an actor? And I said, yeah, I am. So then we come in with these bags, and she goes, hey, this is Sam. He's an actor. He helped me out. Let's buy him lunch. I'm like, yes, because actors don't eat that much. But then she said, instead of lunch, would you like to read for something? I'm like, okay. So she gave me a bunch of material from this film. I had no idea what I was reading for. I just knew it was weird. And they put it on tape, and then 2 days later, I got the call, like, you're in the movie. I'm like, there's a movie? What movie?
Only in LA can you get cast in a movie by crossing the street.
So exactly. The moral of the story is wait by street corners, and then just help everyone across. That's how
Now, Sam, I'm totally geeking out right now, because Battlestar Galactica, I'm a huge fan, and you're on that.
That was a situation where I saw the miniseries, and I really liked it, and I said, get me on that show, and then they did, and I had no idea that would work.
You must really have the force, and you can say, get me on that show, and end up on the show.
Get me on the show.
Now, clearly you have the force here, the force unleashed.
Yeah, Battlestar, I had a shaved head, right? So then when they were doing Force Unleashed, they wanted sort of a shaved, heady-looking guy, and I had a shaved head. That's all it took. No, I mean, we had an audition, and there was a whole process, and they wanted to hire actors who would not only do the voice, but also be the likeness of the character, and do the mocap, and do all that. So, they got a bunch of us yahoos together, and we ended up having a lot of fun.
Give us a line from Starkiller.
Oh my God, you will never convince me to betray my master. Something like that.
Oh, now Smallville. How many Smallville fans do we have out there?
So yeah, I was called up in the middle of nowhere. I guess The Mist had just come out, and Force Unleashed hadn't come out yet. But they sat me down in a room, and they told me this story, and hey, we need you to be a good guy, but he's like a monster, and he doesn't want to be. So, and I was just like, I had no idea what I was doing there. Why do these people call me in? And then while they're explaining this to me, they're like, we want to know all about Force Unleashed. I'm like, okay. And so I started telling them. And I dare say Force Unleashed kind of helped me get that job, because there was a lot of buzz behind it, and they wanted to sort of, have a little bit of that. So yeah, Force Unleashed kind of led me to Smallville, and I started growing my hair back.
Now, it's led you to being human, too. How many being human fans are there out there?
Yeah, apparently the casting director... What's that?
The vampire we love.
The vampire we love. Yeah, I mean, he's not nearly as nice a guy as people make him out to be. People get hurt on that show. But the casting director, apparently, as I understand it, they were looking through they'd gone through hundreds of guys to try to find this role. And the casting director was also Smallville's casting director. And she goes, wait, we're trying to find a guy who's a monster and doesn't want to be. I think I know who the guy who does this. Except he's got to be funnier this time. So, so I came in and, met Sam Huntington. And the moment he sits down next to me, he looks at me and he says, are you going gray? I'm like, no! Thanks for doing that here, and so it was really fun. And that's kind of how that came about.
One thing leads to another for you, and then on to Cold Wars.
Yeah.
The Mortis trilogy is actually probably my favorite episodes, and that was the first time we got to work together.
Yes.
And is it true that the son of Mortis actually led you to be the voice of Darth Maul?
Yes, because Mortis, they kind of described. Dave Filoni said, "You're playing the dark side of the Force, right?" And then, and the first day, I said, Dave, I'm afraid that. Is he going to sound too much like Starkiller, who's another Star Wars character? I mean, are we afraid of that? And he said, no, Starkiller has sort of a connection to the dark side of the Force, and you are the dark side of the Force, so we can hear some Starkiller in that. And so I reasoned if that was the case, then he should sound like all the villains a little bit. He should have a Darth Vader moment, he should have an Emperor moment, and he should have Darth Maul moments. And as I'm doing this for Dave, and he's like, I see what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, there may be something down the road for you. And I said, what, like a bounty hunter? And he's like, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe just Darth Maul.
And I was Darth Maul, right. So the Mortis thing led directly to, a year later, getting called up to do this fine gentleman